Hello, I'm Monica Garcia, President of the LAUSD Board of Education, and welcome to Families Matter. Joining me is my co-host, Maria Casillas, the Chief of School, Family, and Parent Community Services, and my special co-host, my colleague on the board, Ms. Nury Martinez. Our goal is to provide information so families can help their children graduate. Today's topic is all about the school report card. They bring school transparency to parents and help families ensure that their child's school is meeting the grade. Joining us later to discuss the issue will be Elise Buick, President and CEO of the United Way of Greater Los Angeles. And ladies, she's an LAUSD parent. But first, a chance to talk about the latest regarding with families and parent services. So Maria, what do you have that is new for us?
Well, now this is a major project for the district and a major opportunity for our parents and for our schools, because just recently, thanks in part to the Wasserman Foundation and Donors Choose, we have an opportunity to have every parent in the school district, if you can imagine this, every single parent who will be getting a card like this, with it's like a voucher for $15, can actually donate these $15 provided by Donors Choose and the Wasserman Foundation, so that they can apply it towards any project they want for their own school. So this is wonderful. I mean, the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my son, waits for this to come with his son, with my grandson, so that they can apply it towards a project at my grandson's school. So in any case, this works really well.
That's
and
wonderful.
It certainly comes at a time when our schools need every little help that they can get.
Yeah, and I think the interesting part about this is that it's not some schools, it's all of our schools in the district. And what's so exciting about it too is it's a way to help teachers not have to put out of their own pocket money for these special projects that they sometimes have their children, the kids do. So for example, if they're having some sort of digital project in one of their schools and they need a camera, for example, to be able to complete that project,
this is great.
Then this would be a great example of a parent going online and using the code that's on here.
Correct.
You log on and you basically find the school and the project that the teacher is asking for donations for, and you plug in the code and boom. Automatically $15 goes towards that project at that school, right?
Right, automatically.
Yes. So we want to make sure that every family knows that they have $15 that can help our school. I know at Roosevelt there are teacher projects where they are collecting for a classroom library.
Right.
And so they want to buy books. Another teacher is asking for help to bring just regular notebooks into the classroom so students would write. And as you look down all of the schools, there are art projects galore where they can use more supplies.
Have you gone online already?
I have gone online.
Tell us what you did.
And well, I did exactly that. Go online, and I gave
online into the LA Unified website, right?
There is a special little...
Correct.
I went actually to DonorsChooseLA.org.
DonorsChooseLA.org, okay.
DonorsChooseLA.org, and then you have a gift code, as Nury was telling us. There is a gift code here. You plug that in, and then I looked for the school, and I bought some books. And so schools are being asked, they can organize. I mean, $15 is $15. $15 from 1,000 parents?
Oh my gosh,
that's a nice gift.
That's a wonderful gift. So remember, parents, this is what we really want them to hear from us. Wait for this card. I know your kids show up with backpacks filled with things, so we want all parents to await this card, to make sure that they get it, to use this code, get online. If parents don't have access to a computer in their home, or for some reason their internet service is down, as often happens, go to your nearest school, go to their parent centers.
Or the library.
Or the library, anywhere where you can get online, and then help your schools.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, those are really good points, is that it does expire. And it's
February.
very important that we do this. And all kids should have by now have received these cards to take home. And the expiration date is February 2nd of 2012. So we have 2 months.
2 months to catch up with this. 2 months to
catch up and make sure that we support our schools and that we are using these vouchers quickly.
Right. And what a wonderful gift to our students and to our schools. And I don't know all the folks over at the Wasserman Foundation, but I want to thank them. And I'd like to thank Donors Choose. You know, it's a national program. So this takes place in other places across the United States, and finally Los Angeles gets to not just be occupied anymore,
and
but
I
to
have
actually have
I have to
donors
give
choose.
my friend Cesar Bocanegra a special plug because he
Okay.
actually works for donors at choose.org. He's a San Fernando High School graduate.
Wow.
He graduated with me in 1991, and he's an MIT graduate, a product of our school district. He's the COO of donorschoose.org.
Oh,
Isn't
my
that wonderful?
Gosh, I think that's wonderful, and it says a lot about our schools.
Yes, yes, yes.
Our
yes, it
LAUSD
works.
graduates are everywhere.
Right,
When
so
we get
I
it
just had
right,
to say
we
that.
change lives. Well, good for him. Good for him. So we're going to keep talking about donorschooseLA.org and asking our parents to use their $15 to help our schools. What else is happening with those field trips you were talking about, Maria, of having parents come together at universities?
Well, we're working on that. We're planning them. We've got 2 great sponsors to date. We have Microsoft that is going to be there with some very, very special exhibit. It's called EduTent. And then we have Target. So these are 2 major corporations who see a great need to support our schools and our parents. And what we're doing is converting this former parent summit where we would bring maybe about 3,000 or 4,000 parents to the convention center once a year. It was quite costly, really, but while parents learned a lot, what we want them to do is use that same opportunity, but apply it at the college campus so that the parent begins to experience what it's like to be at the school.
So the summit isn't going to take place at the convention center
No,
next
we're
year?
going to have it at university campuses. We haven't locked the dates in yet, and we don't have the universities yet. But we're going to be working with a steering committee of community-based organizations, our own Office of Instruction and others, early education, because our theme is really going to be from cradle to college. So that college begins the minute that child is born. We want parents to start thinking about the need to complete high school, to prepare, to use the K-12 experience really to prepare for college.
And so many of the parents that participate, because I've been to the last 2 since I've been on the board, they bring their kids to the conference.
Oh, yes.
So it'd be more wonderful, so
it's for
it's
the
the
entire
entire family
family
that can actually
Yeah,
go
it's like
visit
a big
campus.
play date, but at the university campus.
Lots and lots and lots of fun,
That's
ladies.
wonderful.
We'll be right back with Elise Buick from the United Way to discuss school report cards.
Great.
Got that right.
I'm Faith Carey. And I'm Chris Carey, and welcome to the 8th Annual Omni Youth Music and Actor Awards.
Chris, I'm so excited to be back here again this year. I can tell it's going to be a phenomenal event.
I know, Faith. I've heard there's going to be a wide range of children performing tonight, from elementary, middle school, even high school.
You're right. How about we go meet some of them right now?
Okay, I go this way, you go that way. Let's go.
Okay.
What I'm doing here, I'm a presenter for Outstanding Vocal Group for ages 12 to 18. Got it. And I also did a performance for the pre-show, which was a lot of fun. I was dancing and singing. That was a lot of fun. Now I'm really tired.
So what brings you out here?
Well, I'm going to perform and present at the Omni Awards.
What do you have for children that are younger than you? What advice would you give them if they want to sing?
Well, just to keep believing in yourself and to get in all the gigs that you can, because nothing is too small and nothing's too big, because, you know, we're all trying to work and it's a lot of people.
It's going to be wonderful. We have talent that exceeds most. Last year was excellent, but tonight we have all genres of music. We have the R&B, we have the folklorical, we have the classical, and it's just a fabulous group of talent, and a lot from LAUSD.
Waiting on the world to change. If we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on their door.
you know, I wouldn't even be anywhere in my career. And of course, I want to thank my brother Chris, who's been with me from the start and who really got the first job in California, so I could even stay out here and audition for That's So Raven. Come do everything, don't stop. Come do everything, don't stop.
So Chris, how was your first time in the awards?
I loved it, Faith. I had no idea that LAUSD had so many talented students.
So that means you're gonna start practicing, right?
Yeah, right, after you.
Okay. Reporting for KLCS News, I'm Faith Carey.
And I'm Chris Carey. See you next year.
Welcome back to Families Matter. Joining us now is Elise Buick, President and CEO of the United Way Los Angeles, to discuss with us the school report card. Welcome, Elise.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We're really happy you're here. We want all our parents to know about this wonderful tool called the school report card. And United Way has been such a good partner with us, helping us hear from parents. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, what was great was that the district was willing to work with us to involve parents. And, you know, for us, it's about how do you have the data in one place. I'm a working mom and my sons are in LAUSD, and I can tell you trying to find data and what's happening at the school is really tough. So we were able to bring together parents, and you generously allowed their input to be reflected in this tool, and it's very powerful for parents.
Yeah, the interesting part, the most important part for me about discussing the report card is that it's actually going to be published, or it has been published a month earlier, to help parents and to help schools improve, which is, I think, is a very important piece of the puzzle. So have you received your children's report card yet? And
I have not, but I had it last year.
It's in the mail. Well, right, we're about a month ahead of schedule this year, again, to try to help not only inform parents about how how their school is doing, but also help the school improve and have a lot more time to do so.
I mean, I think the thing we heard was looking at the trending is really important for parents to see which direction. And what's exciting this year is we now have the academic growth over time, and the parents really were asking for that. So
I mean, this is, I wonder if the camera can capture, you know, how, first of all, this is one side and here is the other. So it says progress, readiness, learning environment, and student groups. So these are 4 categories that parents can actually look at and begin to learn, because, you know, they need to begin to navigate what all this is. Sending their child to school is really important. Attendance is important, getting them there. But once they're there, they have to help the child navigate that environment, and parents sometimes don't know how to do that. So I think this is a very good tool to become oriented to, well, what is it that is so important about the school, and how do I assess that my child's school is really working for him? So this is as much a report card that puts a value, if you will, on what's going on inside of school with those adults that are there caring for the child, as much as on the other side, what's happening in the home and how parents respond and support their children's learning.
I want to applaud the district, because the one thing we heard from parents was that they wanted their voices to be heard. So the data is obviously important in the quantitative measures, but the fact that the district was willing to put qualitative measures and survey from students, from parents and the staff, because we know those things are important. If a student doesn't feel safe on campus, the learning is very hard. If parents don't feel welcome, I think that's information that teachers and the principal have wanted. So the qualitative and the quantitative, we think, is a powerful combination.
Well, I think this is such a powerful tool for parents. You know, my daughter's not in school yet. She's only 2.5, but it is a very overwhelming and scary thing to, you know, to visit, not to visit the schools, but to just think of, like, what are our options in our neighborhoods and what's going to be best for her and what's going to be ultimately best for our family. So this information of just having it ready for you and it you having it ready for parents to say, well, this is exactly what's happening at that school. Right. And is this a learning environment for my daughter? Would this be the school my daughter would be successful at? And I think that's important. I think, you know, I am not a teacher and I'm not a principal, but I have to tell you that I think at my neighborhood schools, a lot of my friends that send their kids to our schools have very much appreciated the fact that we have this ready for them, and that it's in a way that they can understand and make that choice for their families and their kids. And it's such a powerful thing for our parents to understand the information about what's really happening at that school.
And I think it gives you a tool to where you need to focus. What's great on this one, we're showing a jump in proficiency in English from 29% to 47% in 1 year. That's great. How would we build on it? But the math scores went down. And so I think that's what we've heard from parents too, is I want to advocate on behalf of my kids, but where do I need to be working with the administrators to really move the needle on these indicators?
And you know, I think the district is really trying to go away from success for some kids as opposed to success for all kids. So we know each of our schools does, they have the services that meet the needs of some kids. Right. And what we're trying to do is exactly what you said about what is working, what is not working, where do we need to focus, and helping parents as they come into the system. For elementary school, we're looking at always at attendance, but also at 3rd grade reading. And then we start looking at 5th grade math. And then we start looking at 9th grade readiness, algebra. Are we following the A through G curriculum to help our kids prepare for college? And then, of course, in high school, how many kids are graduating? So from the beginning to the end, we're trying to find an honest, simple way to help communicate to parents. One, they need to hold us accountable. Yes. And then, as you always tell us, Lydia, they need to hold us accountable. And then two, how do we talk about what works well at the school and what has to improve?
Right.
Right.
And also, it also measures to some degree how responsive the home can be. Because if I receive this and I see that, boy, at that school, maybe they dropped in math, as you said, this year. Right. Well, I need to check in with my son's teacher to see, well, how is my son doing in math? And what do I need to do at home to make sure he gets the support at home to not fall behind? Imagine if every parent of a single school looked at the report card and said, uh-oh, we're in a little bit of trouble here in math. So what do we do at home? Maybe we use our donors choose card to make sure we help with projects related to math or whatever it is. Because sometimes it isn't just that the quality of instruction is not on target. It could be a variety of things. We don't have all the books for all children. Our classrooms tend to be a little overcrowded, especially now. I remember when my grandson started school, we had 20 kids in the classroom. When he finished 5th grade, there were actually 40 students in the classroom. That's double the amount. So in my mind, we're asking, can a child with 40 children do as well as a child with 20 kids? Well, a very, very good teacher can probably do okay as long as very, very good parents are doing their share. So that pipeline that you're talking about, it's a pipeline that starts from preschool all the way through 12th grade, gives us an indication along the way of how well our kids and our schools are doing. That's why this report card takes a picture of, well, here it is at 3rd grade. So 3rd grade, English Language Arts. Because what do we know about 3rd grade as a key indicator? Is that students who are not reading at grade level by 3rd grade will tend to fall behind and not catch up later. Right. So that's the first indicator. So for parents out there who have children in, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade, start looking at that report card to see how many students at this school really are reading at grade level or meeting the standard, the California standards, because that's really what this report card is telling us. So that's a key indicator. The next indicator is about that transition into middle school. And when we look at 5th grade math, because we know that students tend to have a very bumpy road between 5th grade at their elementary school and 6th grade at their middle school. That transition is like,
my son's in 5th grade. I'm worried about that.
Oh, yeah. It's bumpy. That's the best way that I can explain it. It's just bumpy. It's not that smooth. and not just navigating from going from one teacher's classroom, but to 6 or 7 teachers' classrooms. It's tough for kids, but it's tough for parents too. So keeping track and having a way to look at what's going on is really helpful to parents.
I think 2 other things. I was really happy. You know, parents really wanted us to say, you know, what is the highest level of education students plan to achieve? And I know that's been one of your priorities and yours as well, is this a college, is the goal to get to college, and knowing where parents and students, where everybody is in that mix and how we can set that culture, that's been a real powerful tool for parents.
Right.
The other thing, interestingly enough, is now parents are starting to look at the attendance, and I know you've talked about the budget. One of the ways we can get our budget up is to get attendance up, and so parents are now taking this as kind of a way to start to have that conversation with other parents about let's get our attendance rates up. So it's really being applied in some really wonderful ways.
Right. That's right, and it's the conversation, right? We know that the relationship with the child and the families and the school folks is what really creates that energy to get the kid to the goal. So I've had a lot of schools say, we're working on our attendance because we don't want to lose another teacher, right? So if they go to per pupil, or they're very interested, how do we get the money? How does our school get money? Well, attendance is one of those ways where students and faculty, every employee really does help us by coming to school, and you know, it also helps us with the budget and with reaching our targets.
But I want to say, only because, you know, your children are in school now, my children have already finished school. I could be each of your grandparents. Thank you. I remember visiting my child's teacher when he was about in the maybe 3rd grade, wanting to know how he was doing in reading. Now, I was a school principal at the time in another part of LA Unified, but I had this appointment to go see the teacher. And I was so nervous.
Yes.
And every question that I had internalized about my son's reading and math and, you know, social skills and whatever, everything I wanted to know that I wanted the teacher to respond to a very large degree, I wanted affirmation from the teacher that things were going right. So I had all my little notes and whatever. And I went into the classroom and I had a meeting with this teacher, and I don't know what I was so nervous. And I kept telling myself, I am so nervous, and I am a school principal. And I'm asking this teacher with just, you know, feeling so intimidated. And she wasn't doing anything. She was just there to help me, waiting for my questions. So I learned from that experience that the more prepared I was next time around, not just in general, but very specific, the more prepared and the more focused I could keep the conversation as a parent, it focused the teacher's attention to those issues. So that by the time I got around to saying, but is he reading at grade level? And she would say to me things like, he is such a good little citizen. He's such a good boy. And
that's not my question.
And I wanted to really know about his reading skills, you know, and but you know, he's such a lovable child. You know, and I was so happy. I left there thinking, gosh, you know, my kid's a really great kid.
I've had the same experience.
I wasn't sure he was reading.
I have teacher conferences next week, so I mean, I think having the context of what's happening in the school and having it in a quantitative way, you know, you've talked about transparency and accountability, and that's what parents want. So this tool really allows us to do it, and I think it's very powerful.
So how would you recommend to parents getting ready for those parent conferences? How can, what would you recommend they have the conversation with the teacher about?
Well, a couple things. I mean, one is how your child is doing in the context of some of these scores, because it's giving them the context to really have that conversation. The other thing, though, like I said, is I think parents are wanting to know how they can be helpful as advocates for their own children and also in the school community. So we're seeing parents use it both for their individual child, and I think the point you made, what can I do as a parent to help move the needle? If I can help own this with my own child or my own children, then I'm contributing to raising these rates for the whole school. Correct. But then where do we need to come together as parents to maybe work more closely with our parent and our administrator teams to focus on how we're going to get those math scores up? And I think it's that mixed approach of I'm going to work more on math with my children, I'm going to read to my child every night, that helps move that reading score, and then how can I contribute with other parents? And I think we do feel intimidated, and so this is really kind of It's a game changer for the conversations with teachers, with principals, and how we bring in resources to really move these things forward.
Yeah, with some of my parents and having conversations with them, the math portion of this is intimidating to them. It really is. But the reading, I say, you know, all you need to do is create that environment at home. And you don't have to even speak the language, as long as you are reading and you set the tone at home at 7 o'clock and you turn off that television and you actually make it an everyday ritual at home that we read together. Even if you read for an hour or two, the more the better. And that's something that every single one of us as parents can do. I mean, it doesn't take a PhD to be able to sit there and say, here's a book, now we're going to read together. And so, and it's such, I think our families are so overwhelmed, especially now with the economy. We're working and we're all really tired by the time we get home. But every single one of us has to play an active role. And I think it starts with our homes.
Correct.
You know, I tell my parents, you know, Isabel's not being raised by the neighbor or my aunt. She's being raised by me.
You.
She is.
You are mommy.
I am the mom and I am the example. And so if I have to model that. And so you have to model and create those foundations, because your child would just be so much better prepared by the time they get to school. So that's absolutely something that I'm definitely a believer in.
We find a lot of parents don't know the principal. They don't know there's a parent center. And so to your point, Maria, about there's ways that parents can get involved. And I find there's a lot of resources at the district that parents don't know about.
And on that note, ladies, I'm going to have to stop. This is a wonderful conversation. I always have that bad job, you know. I am the lady who keeps score here, and time is up. So I want to thank you for being with us. And I want to thank all of you for joining us on Families Matter. And please visit our websites, families.lausd.net and parentaccess.lausd.net. Your involvement makes all the difference. For Monica and for our dear guests who have joined us here today, see you next month. And remember, families indeed matter. Goodbye.